Provo, Utah. This is the ultimate Final Fantasy podcast with your hosts, Joseph DeGolier and Caleb Schweiss. This is Ultima Final Fantasy. Oh yeah, welcome to another episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the ultimate Final Fantasy podcast. I am Joe.
I am Caleb.
And today we are going to be doing part 7 of the history of Square-Enix, talking about the years 1997 and 1998 for both companies. Schweiss, what are you looking at right now?
I'm taking a look at the Movie League estimates that I just noticed came in.
Okay, so we're worried about our gambling problem right now. Who's winning for the week?
Alexandria is actually.
Oh, really?
By 13 million against me. I am second place, though.
Oh, whoa. Okay, I'm going to have to look at that later. Just don't 15. Even tell me.
Okay, sorry. So,
if anybody's interested in joining us for the Fantasy Movie League, make sure you send us an email.
Yeah, do it. I've thought about opening up a new one. I'm just like addicted to opening more leagues, it seems. And then I lose in each of them, so I hate it.
Oh, okay.
FantasyMovieLeague.com, though. It's great. A lot of fun. What were you saying?
Brought to you by.
Yeah, brought to you by Fantasy Movie League. No, if it was brought to, we would be bringing it to them, because those guys' show, I tried to listen to it. It is atrocious sounding.
No, it's great. We can just make it better.
Yeah.
Fantasy Movie League. I mean, if you'll pay us a couple $100 a week.
Yeah.
We'll give you a freaking high quality show.
Yeah, we will. Out of this low quality studio that we got here, this
studio
wide open home that I live in.
We have a wonderful question this week having to do with a billionaire.
Oh, really?
Not Trump, but a billionaire paying us to play the Final Fantasy
yeah,
games.
that's right. I saw that one.
And I do have a number. If anybody wishes to pay us, you don't have to pay us a whole bunch of money. You just have to pay us so that we can live off of it.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
So you did some Joe math, and
yeah, I did some Joe. It's not really Joe math, right? We'll get to it.
I don't know. It depends on what you did.
We're all over the place. Schweiss, I know you finished Revenant Wings. Are you just playing other games right now?
I've still been grinding out the Midlight's Deep is what it's called. It's the dungeon at the end of the game, and I can get 60,000 experience in 4 minutes flat. So I've done that about 50 times, maybe, something like that. I just keep pounding through the same dungeon over and over again. It's only level 1 of it too, because level 2 takes 5 or 6 minutes, so it's not worth it. So I go in, I start, I know where everything's going to happen. There's one of 2 scenarios that take place. Either one team moves to the left or a team moves to the right, and depending on where they move, I go the opposite way, and the path will clear itself because they'll start coming to take over my area. And then I'll cut over, take out their crystal, advance to the next thing, watch the tiny cutscene, start the match, exit, go back into floor 1, and start it all over again.
It sounds like a blast, Schweiss.
Yeah, it's really shitty. But,
yeah.
I do want to 100% the game, though, since I have the time. But I am sitting at, I think, 43 hours total. So.
Oh, I thought you were going to say 43%. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ.
No, I'm at 90%.
That's like Crisis Core numbers.
Yeah, this is much better post-game than Crisis Core. Okay.
All right.
It's not... Okay, it is the same thing over and over again, sort of, but only because I can't handle the dungeon that I'm on. It's a little too tough for me still, but I think level 75 or 80, I should be able to take it on. But I don't know. I'll let you guys know in my post-game segment.
I am currently still in the same place I was last week. However, I only had one train ride this week that had the DS. I had a second train. Okay, I had 2 train rides this week. That's when I'm playing the game, right? And I might have to play it outside of that now because we're crunching into we're almost the second half or the midpoint of November here. And so, might have to start picking it up a bit, but I am still in mission 4, but I did a whole bunch of side quests. I did all the side quests on the way and updated my gear, so I am ready, I think, to fight Belias but I have my tail tucked in between my legs.
Yeah.
And so I'm scared. And so I haven't yet pressed the mission yet.
So when you say upgrade your gear, I assume you mean craft.
I crafted up to the highest stuff that it will let me craft at the moment. Mm-hmm. And then I also bought armor.
Okay. I've
like that.
I don't think I've bought anything in this game. Maybe one or two things, but everything else I've crafted.
Okay.
Doing those extra missions has given me a lot of materials that I can use to then craft higher quality items within the game. So that part really helped me out, and it made it to where what I would do is I would get to a point where I couldn't advance, and then I would try it a couple times, lose because the game's brutal, and then I would be like, all right, well, I'm going to go out and see what's available to craft. And then I would go craft, and it would up my stats by like a bullshit amount. Like they're crazy advancements. I'd go in and I'd win again.
I did all the stuff that was available to me, and I think I leveled up 3 times.
Oh, okay.
Which I don't know. Is that pretty good for this game, or is that kind of mediocre?
I think leveling up is good.
Okay, I'm like level 18 or something like that.
I don't remember where I was with the Belias. I assume I was probably at least around there because I had done all the extra missions, and you're in what, like chapter 5?
Chapter 4.
Chapter 4?
At the end of chapter 4.
Okay. I might have been higher level than that, but I don't know how much.
That's odd. You must have repeated stuff over and over again, if that is in fact the case.
I just did all the extra missions, too.
I did, too. That's what I said.
You did all of them?
I did all the stuff that was available to me.
Wow.
Yes. And none of them took me an hour and a half, by the way.
Yeah, none of them yet will.
Okay, so that's later on?
Yeah.
All right.
I don't even think you're going to be able to beat some of the extra missions.
And I've picked up all the treasure. I think I missed one treasure box on one of the quests.
Yeah, I missed a few things, but the treasure doesn't really matter.
And I usually clear the map completely when I'm doing a thing. So I don't know how the fuck I am sucking at this game so bad, but
it's very different. It's not the Final Fantasy that we're used to by any means.
No, can I ask you something? Is this anything like Final Fantasy Tactics? I've never played Tactics. Is this anything like it?
I would say it's semi-similar to Tactics.
So it's like Tactics plus a MOBA is what I'm guessing it is?
Kind of, yeah. Tactics is more turn-based. So you get your unit, you get to move them a certain amount, and then you get to attack. So it's a lot like Last Mission, sort of, but better by like a bunch. And you get class upgrades. It's like a jobs. It's like this game, but you only have limited movement, turn-based, and you have a job class system where you can level up your character's level and then also your job level and get special abilities with each job. So you can change jobs like crazy.
Yeah, this game.
You'll like Tactics more. I definitely like Tactics more.
This game is something twice.
Yeah.
And I hope that I'll be able to get past Belias and we'll finally get to the missions that are supposed to be extremely tough. And then I will cry about them next week or so.
Yeah.
Schweiss, before we get to news, let's do some plugs here. You can go to youtube.com/Ultimate Final Fantasy. Check us out there. You can go to Twitter and tweet me at Joseph Vigolier.
And me at UFF Podcast.
You can go to facebook.com/Ultimate Final Fantasy and talk to us on there. You can also see our episodes streaming live every Saturday, usually at 11 a.m.
Sometimes earlier.
Mountain time. Is it Mountain Standard or is it Mountain Time?
I don't remember. Mountain Standard is when we're in daylight savings, I believe.
Okay. I don't know where
Utah. So whatever
time.
it is. Daylight savings.
Just do a Google, say what time is it in Utah right now.
Yes.
And you'll be able to do the calculations. You can go to that. You go there, twitch.tv/Ultimate Final Fantasy. And, everything can be found at ultimatefinalfantasy.com, including our forums. And we are going to experiment with a new segment this week, guys, or not sure if it's this week, but in the future. And that new segment is going to be episode feedback at the end of the episode. So if you want to comment on this week's episode or last week's episode, we will then discuss that at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
So more than just a question segment, I want to add more stuff with the listener base.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
All right. And last but not least, you can support us on patreon.com. And we very much appreciate it if you do.
We do. There's a few rewards that I'm Not sure if I sent out, so I have messaged you guys, and please get back to me.
Did you message them on Patreon?
Yeah, I did. It's through Patreon. And
so our dear patron donors, if you could please check your messages.
Yeah, I can't remember, dude.
Well, okay. Well, let's talk about this for like 1 second. The Patreon patron manager thing that's on our end of the Patreon site is a piece of crap. When it comes to like, oh, they got their rewards, or oh, they didn't get this. Like, if there's multi-tiered rewards, it doesn't even put that into account.
Yeah, there's times where it doesn't.
It's like, did you give them the rewards or not? Yeah. And it's like, well, there's like 4 things we got to give this person because they gave us $20 1 month. And so.
And it's frustrating because
now it's like, what did we do?
There's no tick box or anything, a check box where I say, yeah, I sent this off. Or else I would do that. I would use that thing every time. I think
there is. There's something like that, but it's only 1 box or something like that.
It'll show where they're at. But it doesn't, there's not anything that I get to click on that says, hey, I sent it.
Oh.
So it's like, it's just anarchy. Like with Indiegogo, I think it's more streamlined, and it's like, so when we did Emmanuel's song, it says,
and thank you to everybody who isn't listening to the Emmanuel Song podcast, but still donated to us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you a ton.
We were able to raise $1,300 and we're still working on the movie. And, if you want to know more, just go to emmanuelsong.com and check it out there. Go ahead.
Yeah, but with that, it's a lot easier to manage, like who's gotten what, and like you can say, hey, I didn't get this, and then they'll reach out to the content creators and stuff like that. So it's kind of weird and it's a little finicky. So let us know. And also, guys, if you want to, we do have our Amazon link. If you guys want to do your purchases through the Amazon for Christmas or whatever the hell you do, small percentage kicks back to us. And we've had some pretty awesome stuff coming through there lately. And it's good to be able to pay for our trip to KupoCon. It's nice.
I'm still going to have to pull up a part-time job. Probably, guys, I think I'm going to have to work fast food for like a month and a half.
Oh, wow.
I cannot find a job around here.
I'm going to blurt it out on the show, huh?
Within walking distance from where I will be sleeping, which is what I need because I don't have a car anymore. So like my life is shit at the moment when it comes to employment. That's what's gonna, guys, I love you guys so much that I'm going to work fast food for a couple months.
Oh, jeez.
In secret.
It's a real secret.
and help pay for some KupoCon costs. It's true. My life is, when it comes to that aspect of things, my life is shit.
Yeah. So we are
I've been job searching solidly for months.
Yeah, that sucks. But speaking of KupoCon, guys, I believe there are still tickets available, so hit that up if you're in that area. It's going to be in Newark, New Jersey, and we're going to be there. We're going to do a panel, and we're really excited about that. All planned, all ready to go. Ultima Final Fantasy panel.
Yeah.
All right, man, I think we got some news that we need to get to.
We do. News.
Oh boy. So remember how we thought it was awkward that they released a trailer for Final Fantasy 15 within, like a month of it coming out? Even though it was a great trailer.
That was an amazing trailer, and I totally disagree with you with it being awkward.
I think it's bizarre that they're releasing a trailer that late into the game. I do.
I don't think so. I think it's to pump out people who are maybe going, oh, just another Final Fantasy game. They're like, look at this fucking awesome trailer. And they're like, fuck yeah.
They should have released that 2 months ago, though. That thing would have just created more of a hype train than it could have.
They already have like 1 million.
Yeah, but they're not great. No, the pre-sales, yeah. It's a big game.
I think this is pushing the date of release sales.
Perhaps. I still think it's awkward to come out with a trailer that late in the game. But what's even more awkward is coming out with another demo.
Okay.
19 or 18 days before the game's released.
All right. We'll talk about the demo in a second, but I want to get you on your trailer thing. Now, the difference between this and like a movie is because this trailer and all previous Final Fantasy 15 trailers, none of them have really given much away about the story of the game. A lot of it takes place in one area. A lot of the footage takes place in just one place, right?
Okay.
Or like two places. There's the city, and then there's like the foresty area we saw in the demo, in the Disque demo. And even plot-wise, they aren't giving that. Even Kingsglaive didn't give that much away about the world, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Considering it's a whole entire movie based upon this universe. And it's still like, I have no idea what Final Fantasy 15 is going to entail. Like, what is the drama that's going to be, inherent in this game? That trailer gave us some stuff that it's like, whoa! But then at the same time, it didn't give us anything at all.
Yeah.
It's fucking genius. If they can keep pumping out trailers like that because it's not giving away anything more.
Well, it's not about giving things away.
It's teasing things even more. You want the game even more now. That new trailer is fucking phenomenal.
I agree. It is phenomenal, but I think they should have released it earlier. I feel like it's like, I don't know, it's like coming out with a demo 18 days before the game's released. It's not like
that. That is ridiculous. The demo is ridiculous.
But I've heard good things thus far.
November 11th, they put out a demo.
Yes, yesterday or a few days ago, depending on when you're listening. They put out a demo in Japan, and our good source, Shinru, did say it was solid. It's obviously, you can't really understand much because... Japan, but he says the gameplay's good, and I'm excited. I do agree with the trailer, though. It was a fantastic trailer. It's just weird to me that they keep coming out with like more and more and more and more trailer. Content.
Believe me.
Yeah. Believe me.
Dude, I gotta start working on my Trump impersonation. Like, that is the one thing that, like, I have a pretty decent George Bush, and I have like a mediocre Bill Clinton, and I can't do Obama at all.
Yeah.
You try to all the time to do an Obama impersonation.
I feel like it's good.
Yeah.
But
Trump is a white guy who I should be able to impersonate, but I've never figured out his voice.
Well, you and I run into
it, and every time I try to do Trump, it turns into freaking Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, you and I have the same problem with Trump. It turns into Sanders at the end.
People are like, don't fucking joke about this shit. I know people are pissed right now, but that's the thing I'm most concerned about.
Yeah, as impersonations.
Like, how am I going to be able to impersonate Trump? It's an important thing. As an American, you need to be able to impersonate the current president. Trump has a very weird voice.
Yeah.
And a weird tonal range and weird way of speaking that I can't quite figure out. He does say the word tremendous and believe me a lot.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can use that.
You can. Yeah. So like we'll know that you're trying to do Trump, but we'll know that you're not.
It's tremendous.
Because it's difficult, yeah. We gotta work on the Trump voice.
So the demo, apparently, even though Shinru says it's good, as he told you, people are saying that it's filled with glitches and bugs, which does not bode well for the actual game itself, but, it is just a demo, and...
You don't think so?
I don't know if it bodes that well. I mean, maybe they did just delay 15 because it was that buggy.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that demo is any clue.
Yeah. I don't know, dude. We got a little info here on how Moogles were thrown into the Final Fantasy 15 universe.
So there's a whole entire video about this where they talk about, shoving the Moogle into the game.
Yeah.
Even though they weren't originally planning on putting Moogles in, but then, they realized that their fan base wanted them. I remember when they got the tweet, there was a tweet from the Final Fantasy 15 development team going, hey, do you want Moogles in this game? And it's like, yeah, fucking duh, I want Moogles in this game.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought Moogles were stupid at one point, but I realized the errors of my ways doing this podcast. And of course, Moogles are a necessary thing.
Yeah, but we didn't ask for the horror that is the 15
No, we didn't
Moogle.
ask for the gonzo thing, the creepy Moogle with the weird nose.
Yeah.
We didn't ask for that.
So apparently
they were like, fuck you.
Overworld director Yasuyuki Matsunami didn't want that either. He said he freaked out a little bit when he was asked to put Moogles in the game. And he probably freaked out even more.
This is going to glitch the entire game. We're going to have to delay release for a month.
Are you high? Just do it. The fucking Twitter fans want it. Yeah, so there's a cool little thing on Siliconera about that. If you guys want to watch it, it's like a 7-minute video in Japanese, so No. So Sephiroth has been announced as a Dissidia Final Fantasy on the arcade game as a character. So cool. If you're in Japan, awesome. Have fun.
We got a delay on a game. Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia is delayed to early, the vague date of early 2017 in Japan.
Unbelievable. They also, Square-Enix also confirmed a new set of characters that will appear. Galoof from 5, Sephiroth, Squall, Eco, Shantoto, Vanille, and Ace will also be in that game that is now delayed. And since it's a smartphone game and it's in Japan, no chance for us. Until, of course,
unless the listener wants to review it.
Yeah.
Which I'm sad, guys. We have a big audience and a lot of possible, podcasters out there, right?
Yeah, we've inspired many.
I feel like we actually have inspired a half a dozen people to start podcasts.
Yeah, and one of them even works at a radio station now, so he's one-upping us.
Yeah, he is one-upping us.
Absolutely ridiculous, by the way. People, though, these radio stations.
I feel glad for him. Anyway, thanks for reminding me of that. Yeah. That's cool.
It is cool.
Yeah.
It is cool. It makes me
for horror movies or something like that.
Yeah, it makes me feel underachieved, though.
It does.
It's like, man, I bet you I should try.
Doesn't matter how many hundreds of downloads you get, you never feel satisfied.
No. Hundreds. Peasant numbers. So Final Fantasy 15 PS4 Pro. Apparently there's going to be a patch that's going to bring the game to 60 frames a second. That won't come out until December, though. So if you guys are kind of on the fence on whether or not you're going to get a Pro or not, the game will end up having 60 frames, and it's supposed to be...
Yeah, still not going to get one.
It's supposed to be somewhere around 40 to 50 on the Pro.
So it'll be a lower price when it decides to come out? Is that what you're saying?
No, 40 to 50 frames.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But then they're adding a patch that'll bring it to 60.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Frames, it doesn't really make that big of a difference when it's low. All right, when it's above 30, to me personally, I don't see a whole ton with 30 to 60. I might be blind in that, but there is a game that we're playing, and I was getting about 1 frame a second, and that's when I say, okay, there's probably some problems here. This is problematic, but 30 frames, I think it looks fine. The demo was in 30. The episode to Skye, I thought that was fine. I didn't really feel like I was being underwhelmed by the game. I don't know. How do you feel about all this frame stuff?
Well, I think games until pretty recently were running at 30 usually, right? Am I incorrect in that?
Depends on the game, but I think that 30 is like a good baseline.
Didn't know a fucking difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess probably if you played the same game side by side,
yeah,
at the different frame rates, you would probably see a difference there. Or if you were really into shooters or something, you might know.
Yeah.
But personally, for me as a gamer, I can't tell the difference.
Well, I mean, even for me, when I bought this new monitor,
I can tell the difference if a movie is in different frames.
Yeah, that's easier to see.
But I can't tell the difference in a game.
But I bought a new computer monitor, and I was playing the new Doom on it. And the refresh rate, they were like, oh, you'll notice on this monitor. A bunch of people were telling me, I was like, crap, I bought a bad monitor. It's fine. I don't see a difference. I bet you I would see a difference if I had a 7x5 monitor that was God tier, which is how they are on these super high refresh ones. They're smaller, 17 inches is what I'd be able to afford. And I don't know. It looks fine. So I'm not too upset about that. Plus, I saw a side-by-side comparison between the PS4 Pro and the PlayStation 4 with Battlefield 1, and dude, I could barely tell a difference. I could see it was a little different, but it looked better in different ways on each one. I was like, oh, I kind of like this side, and I'm like, oh, that's the PS4 side. I'm like, what the fuck? Why would I buy a Pro if it looks better in this aspect? But do what you want, right? So Final Fantasy 15, we got a
new gameplay footage. Yeah. It shows Titan, so that's awesome. We can save it till another time, though.
All right. Apparently, there's an infiltration mission. That's
yeah. I kind of just don't want to see any more footage of 15. I kind of want to just play the game.
Oh my god, this thing has like five trailers on it. That's crazy.
Yeah, but is it as crazy as 16 trailers for every single patch that they're going to release or DLC that they're going to release?
No, it is not. And as we've complained about before, this game is DLC heavy with Final Fantasy 15. They are going nuts with this shit. And they have released 16, as Joe said, 16 trailers introducing the DLC content, included with pre-orders of Final Fantasy 15. Way to make a punching bag out of my sack, Square. Jesus, dude. All right, so if you guys have any interest in that, you can check that out on Gematsu.com and see all of them. One of them is titled the Gourmand Set, 2 types of rare cooking ingredients.
Sounds like quality DLC.
Yeah, I can't live without it. I'm going to have to buy 16 copies of this game so I get everything, I think is what it's coming down to.
What?
Yeah. So, Final Fantasy 15, apparently, they're working on a mobile MMO.
God, they're doing this thing. All right. Like, their biggest games have been single release games in the past.
Yes.
Final Fantasy VII. You know what came with Final Fantasy VII when it came out? Was there a movie twice?
No. There was no movie.
Was there a novelization?
No.
Was there a planned sequel? I mean, there was with Final Fantasy VIII, but was there a specific Final Fantasy VII planned sequel?
No. There wasn't.
And what's the biggest selling Final Fantasy game?
7.
That's right. Okay, let's talk about
11.
the second biggest Final Fantasy game. Let's talk about Final Fantasy X. Okay, when 10 came out, what other pieces of media were coming out at the same time as 10 in order to get 10 to go above the rest?
Well, I know Spirits Within was released close, but it wasn't in conjunction with 10. Wasn't. It was released around the same time, though.
That was 2000...
Because it was Square. Some of the copies of 10 say Square Soft. And some of them say Square
you're right.
Enix.
It was right on that.
But they're not connected in any way.
No.
In fact, Spirits Within, as far as I can tell, isn't Final Fantasy
threw up to Final Fantasy X from like Final Fantasy VI. It was almost yearly that Final Fantasies were being released.
Yeah, every year. Yeah.
But so why the fuck with 13? Like it was already a planned trilogy, which is ridiculous. And then 15 is now having, you can play the King's game or whatever. The
King's Tale?
Yeah, the King's Tale. And then you can watch the movie along with 15. And then now we have an MMO in development for mobile Final Fantasy 15.
You think it's just too much?
I think they're wasting money.
Yeah, well, what's crazy is when we look at these other games like Final Fantasy,
it's more content, and maybe if 15 comes out and it's the best thing ever, and I'm sure some people will just be roped in and will want to play every single thing.
Yeah,
every single piece of media,
or they have a Final Fantasy podcast and they want to overthrow the evil English overlords.
Yeah, but when Final Fantasy 12 was released, it was just Final Fantasy 12.
Yeah. And
it was big, and...
You know what they did with it being big? They came out with the sequel after it was big.
Yeah.
You know what they did with 10 after it was big? They made a sequel.
Rush sequel.
I don't think it was planned initially, because I've played both of the fucking games, and they're not connected.
They use the same engine.
They do use the same fucking engine. And you can tell on some of the mini games in 10-2, they are awful. Still better than 7s, though.
I think they should be more...
Some of 7s. The snowboarding is horrible.
More confident in their product.
Yeah, well, it's weird because it makes sense to release a Final Fantasy 15 MMO after 15 is a big success. After everybody loves 15, it's like, we can make more content for this and people will enjoy it. It's risky to me to have this huge release on all these tiers of entertainment for a game that hasn't come out. It's been delayed. They gave us an initial release date. They fucked with us, brought it back, and then they fucking moved it to what it was in the thing anyway. And then there's all this extra stuff that's coming out, and it's not that I'm not looking forward to trying it. It's just, why is there a Final Fantasy 15 mobile MMO? What does that even mean? What the fuck is that?
It used to just be the games and an occasional movie.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Even before then, it was just the games once every year and a half.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
It's weird, man. And honestly, what if it doesn't do well? Then they're fucked.
It's already made $60 million.
Yeah.
So, 1 million copies pre-ordered.
Well, that's not a 60 million profit, though.
No, it's not a 60, but that's how much its net grosses. Or it's
got 1 million pre-orders?
Not net. I think so. I think I read that, right?
I don't know.
Am I going crazy? I'll look it up.
But in Japan, Final Fantasy 12 day one, 1.2 million. So,
really?
And we don't know 12 is this great success. I mean, it's fantastic, but I mean, it's weird to have all this laid out and ready to go content. We're working on an MMO. It's weird to me. I don't even know.
Is the Final Fantasy brand that sells at least 5 million copies per game? Even if it's a minor game, it sells 5 million copies, right? Is that not enough?
I don't know.
Would they're going to throw in games that are free? Like this game will probably be free. This mobile MMO.
Yeah, it's weird, man. I don't know. They're doing really well with their pay-to-play stuff, though. Brave Exvius, there's a lot of people that are throwing a bunch of money into that thing. So, it depends on how you do it, I guess, but it still seems weird to me to see this big of a rollout. I mean, it's like nothing we've seen before with the series. All right, so Final Fantasy 15 is also, we get a little kind of a shared look at a couple of guest party members here. Looks like we're going to get Gladiolus's younger sister, not his daughter. And looking forward to that. And let's see what the first one is. Her name is Marcia. So I guess we're going to have guest party members. That was something that 12 did. And really, it's been in the series occasionally, but it's been kind of minor. It's like 6 had some characters you played with for a few minutes. 4, I guess most of them have guest characters at some point, so that's kind of cool that they're looking at that. We have a few updates on possible Final Fantasies. Apparently, they've done nothing with Final Fantasy 16 thus far. They have no idea what's going on.
I think that's bullshit. I bet there are talks at least about Final Fantasy 16.
You think so?
I think so.
Maybe they have Nomura on it, so maybe they have an idea. They want the game to be done, but it's not going to be done for a decade, so it doesn't matter.
I don't know if they have Nomura on it, but this guy, what's his name again? I forgot his name.
Hashimoto.
Yeah. So Hashimoto talks about future Final Fantasy games.
He's their executive producer.
10.3.
Yeah, apparently 10.3 was something they feel like we have expectations because of the audio drama. But he does say that they're kind of facing a wall that can't be climbed, is what they said, and they're really busy, is what it boils down to, which honestly I'm fine with, because I don't want a 10.3. Especially based on what I've heard with the plot from the audio drama, with it being, I just remember hearing something about somebody kicking a bomb and it blowing up on someone. And they thought it was a blitzball. It just sounded absolutely ridiculous. And we know, looking at 13, the 13 series, it's kind of goes downhill with each one. Not necessarily in quality, because we haven't played them, so we can't say that. But as far as the sales, we have 13 that sold X amount, and then 13.2 is about half, and then 13.3 is about a little under a half of what 13.2 did. So I'd be very interested in what kind of a plot line and what sort of sales we would see from Final Fantasy X-3. And personally, I don't I don't see it happening. So, and I'm fine
I don't
with
know
that.
where I got the 1 million from on 15. There is an article saying that they have a ton of pre-orders, but no actual number.
Oh, okay.
So I might be thinking of something else that just came into my head. Hopefully
it's more than that.
Would you want a 10.3?
No, dude. No.
Not at all?
No, not at all.
I kind of want one that's like serious again, that like fixes 10.2.
Yeah. I feel like the 10 universe sort of just needs to be left sort of alone. I enjoyed it. I do think it's great. Spira is a wonderful land, great land, and
it's tremendous.
It is. It's
Believe
tremendous.
Me.
I've been there. But I don't know. I kind of feel like it's one that needs to be sort of left alone. And it's weird because I don't feel that way about Ivalice. I like Ivalice a lot. And it's because I feel like it's well-rounded enough that it can be interesting for a long time. And I don't know if Spira really holds that quite the same for me. Plus, Ivalice has got like a huge timeline they can play around with. And there's like 50 billion games that are in the Ivalice verse.
Yeah, but you got to see all the new costumes for whatever they come up with in the next 10 game, right?
I don't know about gotta, but I don't know. What about you? You think 10?
Yeah, I would like a 10.3. I'm not begging for a 10. Don't listen to me, Square. I'm not begging for a 10.3, but if it were the right story and it had the right tone, which wasn't fucking Barbieville mixed with anime, then yeah.
Do you think they can resist that, though?
I don't know if they can. After 10.2, I don't know if they'll be like, let's get it worse. Let's go crazy with this stuff. I would like them to tone it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make Final Fantasy X great again, Square. Or just leave it alone.
Please, God.
Yeah. So that's it for news.
A lot of news this week.
Yeah, there was a lot of speculation on the 16. It's kind of surprising, and I almost fall in the same camp as you. I don't know if I necessarily believe that they haven't worked on 16 at all. I'm sure they at least have some sort of an idea of what they want. If not, then what the fuck's happening? Like, Final Fantasy VII, 1 year before Final Fantasy VIII. Give me a fucking break here. Come on. And I understand more goes into them now, as far as like the graphics and the rendering and sometimes the story.
There's a bigger staff as well. So like only 20, like it was like 20, a staff of 20 people made FF6.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
A staff of like 12 people made FF4.
Yeah, it's nuts. So, I mean, it is a lot more cumbersome than it used to be. But
and now it's like a staff of 200 people.
Yeah.
Plus.
But with that, you'd almost think that they would scale the amount of people.
Fucking years they've been working on
They
this
would scale the people count up enough to make it what it used to be. But I guess not, given what we've seen. So.
I mean, there's so many things that go into modern games now, I think, from a technical standpoint, that it must be almost impossible to
pump
make
it
a
out
game
like
that big in that amount of time with so few people. Well, and one part of me believes that. Then the other part of me believes that it's probably just super bureaucratic and specialized.
Yeah.
So you could make that game, but you know, only if it weren't as specialized and bureaucratic. I'm sure there's a guy who just programs some like little tiny aspect of the game, and that's all he works on. And so I don't know. Maybe it gives us higher quality stuff. It probably does. From a technical standpoint.
Possibly. I mean, it's weird because Call of Duty, what they've done, they have 3 different studios, I believe, that work on the games. So they have one come out every year, but they have a 3-year rotation with each studio who continues their own storyline for the games.
I think they should do something like that for Final Fantasy. In fact, they kind of had
They have the big team.
The Ito team. They had the Katase team, right?
Yeah. And now they kind of have a mobile team. And then they have like the regular team.
Fucking
and then
fire those people and save money.
I don't know, man. I think that Brave Exvius has given them a lot of fucking money.
It must. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. If it wasn't making them money, they would not keep.
Yeah, same with 11
out mobile games.
Like that's why I don't think 11's going anywhere anytime soon. It's because people still play it. They're making money, so why not?
All right, let's get to the history. Let's rewind to the good old days. Twice.
Oh yeah,
and let's get to the history of Square-Enix Part 7. right, so this History of Square Enix is titled Game Making Machine.
Oh, this sounds like a good era.
Yeah, so it's actually the beginning half of a very good era. I was writing it, and it was just getting huge, and so I had to cut it off. Only 2 years in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So last time we talked about how Square Co. had become an exclusive PlayStation game publishing company, basically. By 1998, I believe, they had a multi-game publishing deal with Sony, and with the success of Final Fantasy VII, things were looking up for the now very profitable gaming company. I mean, the game was super expensive, but they made their money back.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah. Now, I believe back then, that was 97, so how much did new games cost? Were they like 50 or something like that?
I think they were 50, yeah.
Okay. 50 times 10.
10 million? 13?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
The money that they made on that game. So Enix, although keep in mind they were a publishing only company and made no games in-house, weren't nearly as successful in the mid to late 90s as Squareco was. And they were the kings before this. I mean, we've been looking at these two companies, especially, and I know Square Enix, they picked up a couple other companies recently, but it was mostly these two companies that finally came together in the early 2000s. And
Enix was the big pulling... dominating one, because they had the Dragon.
Was dominating, especially in the early 90s.
Yeah, the Dragon.
And the late 80s in comparison to Square. But at this point, it was kind of Square's.
Well, yeah, the PlayStation is probably their biggest seller at this point, because the PlayStation 1 was huge.
I would like to add, though, that games were not the only thing Enix was selling. Remember, this is a publishing company.
Okay.
So games weren't the only thing it was
Power, you're going back to
So, since 1991, likely due, I would think, it's kind of due to Enix's relationship with Akira Toriyama, which is the artist behind Dragon Quest and Dragon Ball. Enix began publishing a weekly manga magazine to compete with Shonen Magazine, Shonen Jump, and Shonen Sunday, which I guess are these monthly or weekly anime magazines, the manga stuff.
Oh, okay.
The manga comics.
Diversifying their portfolios, I guess.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. I mean, they started out as a way different type of company.
Weren't they the power company?
I think. Oh gosh, this was in part one. I think either Square was or they were.
Oh, I wonder. Company. I wonder if that's where Shinra came from. Squaresoft is like, screw you guys, you're evil. Power company.
Maybe.
I don't remember which one was the power company, though. I'm drawing a blank, so
Enix's magazine would be called Monthly Shonen Gangan. By the way, the word shonen, because all these fucking magazines have the word shonen in them.
Yeah.
It means a type of magazine aimed at young men and boys.
Oh, okay, so boobs. Good.
Boobs and violence.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, big fan.
Yeah.
I'm still a big fan.
Yeah.
I am a young man, though, so... Maybe at some point I won't be interested in boobs and violence.
I don't know.
Sometimes you just gotta... Sorry. It was so successful, apparently, that they published another fantasy-only magazine in 1993 called Monthly GFantasy.
Oh, my God. The GFs.
Oh, yeah. They hit in that G spot.
Yeah, they are.
Both of these monthly manga publications have been selling successfully all the way up to now.
Oh,
Japan,
wow.
By the way, these have lasted forever. You may recognize some of these names: Fullmetal Alchemist, Soul Eater. They made manga based on the Star Ocean games.
Oh, wow.
And other spin-off manga that's been published through these magazines for series later, including Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts.
Okay, so they're kind of keeping up with the times and the big series.
Yeah. So
I had no idea this thing existed.
Yeah, I didn't either. Otherwise, I would have talked about it in the 1991 part of the
probably
part of the history of Square-Enix. So in 1991, Enix also, and a couple of other gaming companies in Japan, helped fund the Digital Entertainment Academy Company, which is a school for game development. So,
wow.
I assume that they make money off of that somehow. I think it's probably a for-profit university, but I couldn't find any other information on it. Speaking of games, the first game Enix published for the PlayStation, Bust a Groove from 1998. Have you heard of Bust a Groove?
I have never heard of this game in my life.
I think I might have come across it before and kind of laughed at the title and then kept going. But Bust a Groove is a rhythm game developed by the now defunct Metro Graphics. It was enough of a success that a sequel was made in 2000 called Bust a Groove 2, and a more obscure third game was put out on the PS2, I think only in Japan, called Dance Summit 2001, which even Wikipedia didn't even know existed. It just kind of like was a little mark that like, oh, it also had a third game.
This happened, but we don't know when or where or why.
So, it was a mild success. So, following up with the successful Star Ocean from 1996, Enix released Star Ocean: The Second Story, which was the first in the sci-fi fantasy series released outside of Japan, and proved to be a pretty successful game with 1.09 million copies sold worldwide.
Oh, that's not bad at all, yeah.
No, it's pretty good, especially for the time.
Yeah.
So, although we listed the games on a previous episode, I'll reiterate once again that Enix did experiment with publishing a couple games on both the N64 and the Sega Saturn, but middling sales from both of those systems and the games on those systems that Enix put out is probably what led Enix to publish exclusively on the PlayStation after 1996. Unlike Square, they just decided to publish exclusively on the PlayStation. I mean, it was, as we talked about, and I was wrong about in a previous episode, it was the huge system.
Oh, yeah. It's massive.
So Squareco during this era was pumping out games like crazy in comparison to Enix. So we had like 3 games in 1997, 1998.
Yeah.
And Squareco, fucking 1997.
Yeah, dude.
Is nuts.
There's a lot of shit.
So, although it didn't make the game, Square did publish the famous and ahead of its time fighting game called Bushido Blade in 1997.
I have only ever seen a cover of that in my FF7 thing. It's got a little like, ooh, Bushido Blade.
So
now.
It was created by Lightweight Studios, and to be fair, they would also end up, making the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon game, which is neither famous or any good. It's fucking terrible, in fact.
I wonder, we need to compare it to the Fight Club game that I have over there. I wonder which one's worse. Shitty fighters based on movies.
That is a good question. Which one is worse?
I have no idea.
I bet you, the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon game uses the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon soundtrack. Oh. So at least I know music-wise it'll get a little ahead.
Damn, dude, we're gonna have to review them both.
Yeah, Academy Award winning score on this fucking terrible game. So Bushido Blade would actually be considered one of the greatest games of all time by many publications.
I bet you Famitsu.
And would sell moderately well for a 1997 title with 388,000 copies sold in Japan. It was good enough that they made a sequel to it later.
Yeah.
So, also in 1997, Squareco would release Final Fantasy IV on the PlayStation in Japan. Released 2 games that I couldn't find any info on: Power Stakes and Digicall League.
Digicall.
Which is not a spelling error. That is actually what it was called.
Digicall, huh? That's
and published a sequel to their first PlayStation game, Tobal 2. And then they decided to shake up the Final Fantasy series. You remember last time we read a press release talking about their deal with Sony.
Yeah.
They were working on like a certain tactical game for the Final Fantasy series. This game was called Final Fantasy Tactics.
Wow, that is creative.
And it was the same year as Final Fantasy VII, which is nuts. So this was written and directed by a guy named Yasumi Matsuno, who you might remember was the director who stepped down in the middle of FF12. And I believe he said he was sick or something like that. Do you remember that guy?
Yeah, I do.
And the gameplay was designed by Schweiss's favorite Hiroyuki Ito, which we have an episode on. So if you want to check that out, you can, guys. So Tactics would be one of the strangest departures from the Final Fantasy series, I would say, yet one of the most successful and beloved, with over 2.4 million copies sold worldwide, almost all of which went to snobby hipsters who keep reminding people that FF7 is not the best FF game, but the super rare, totally not Final Fantasy Tactics is.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, I'm kidding. Never played
You've never played Tactics?
So I don't know. No, I've never fucking played Tactics, and I'm sick of people just telling me it's the best.
It's good. They don't
We're
have
gonna
any.
get to
They
it.
don't have any noses though. So keep that in mind.
Oh yeah, that's the thing.
It's freaky. Yeah, it took me like a month to figure out what the fuck was wrong with these characters' faces. I was like, oh, what is it? There's something wrong here. And then I noticed all of a sudden, I'm like, wow, they don't have noses.
So could you tell me? So you've played Tactics? Have you played it all the way?
No, I couldn't beat it. I was too crappy. It's
too crappy, huh?
Yeah, it's a game that random battles become difficult along with you. They the random enemies level up with your character. So if you don't know how to play, if you don't understand the mechanics of the game, you will basically grind your way into death.
I think we have 3 Tactics games in a row we're going to get to soon.
So we're going to be pro by the end. Yeah. There's going to be no problem. Plus, I know
a lot of people do, especially online, tout that it is the best Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, and our would have been third host / punching bag, Caleb Craig, also believes it is the greatest Final Fantasy game. So I'm looking forward to getting back into it and trying to understand the battle system this time. Last time I played it, it was in 2001. So I was a little young, and I sucked, man. I sucked at it. And yeah, so
we'll check it out.
We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see how great this is.
So Square would continue with another addition to the Saga series, with Saga Frontier, which was a moderate critical success that sold just over 1 million copies, so it did well.
Yeah.
A very critically successful sequel to Front Mission 2, would sell a moderate 500,000 copies and be considered one of the best PlayStation games by Famitsu. And you'll forgive me for rushing through the rest of 1997. We had an international version of FF7, whatever that means. A little-known game called Power Stakes Grade 1, the disappointingly unsuccessful side-scroller 16-bit-like retro shooter Einhander, and the forgetful Front Mission alternative, and Chocobo... No, I'm not even going to say it. It's Chocobo Dungeon.
Yes.
And we're not playing it. I would like to also reiterate
I do own it, though. No, I know. Chocobo Racing. Never mind, sorry.
You don't know Chocobo Dungeon.
I don't know.
So Final Fantasy VII must have lit like a fire under Square's ass or something, because they would make and publish even more games in 1998 than they did in 1997. I mean, they're almost at a game a month that they're either making or publishing, which is incredible compared to what they were doing in the years beforehand.
Yeah.
So FF7, it must have gave them so much capital.
Yeah, they had a lot of running capital, and they're like, dude, we need to throw this.
So it's crazy, man.
Stuff.
They would start the year of 1998 kind of mildly, publishing a little game called Super Live Stadium, which I had no information on, but would make gaming history in February with the release of Xenogears.
Ooh.
Praised for its complex psychological plot, which I have yet to see for myself, and interesting use of anime-style artwork. Xenogears was actually one of the early pitches for the plot for Final Fantasy VII, and eventually became its own game. It sold over 1 million copies, and fags.
Whoa. Jeez.
Fans.
And we get 2 days in, and
fans have begged.
3 days in, and you're already just coming undone.
Jeez Louise. Fans have begged for a sequel.
You fags.
Look, man, I was reading fans and I saw the word beg ahead of me, and it turned into the same word. Turned into fags.
Oh, yeah, that one is malicious.
Shut up. Not to be missed, Bushido Blade 2 would follow, along with the PlayStation port of FF5 in Japan. The unknown to Wikipedia games Haishin 2 and Power Stakes 2. And now here comes another mega game in 1998.
Yes.
Based on the popular horror book, and I gotta say, it's gotta be one of the, I don't know this for a fact, but it's gotta be one of the first games based on a popular modern book, right? That's not based on a movie, it's just based on a book.
Probably.
Yeah. I mean, I know there's like Lord of the Rings games that came out in the Super NES, but this is odd. This was a survival horror game, RPG classic, Parasite Eve, and would make quite the splash as a serious and cinematic game, praised for its storytelling, and it's sold almost 2 million copies to date, which is incredible.
Yeah.
So you got to tell me about Parasite Eve. I've never played it. I've only ever looked at it and admiringly, like going, I will someday play that game.
Yeah, and you know what? For Nude Clan, the next time you and I have a group, I'm nominating that.
Okay.
I'm going to do it.
Can't wait till something else beats it.
Yeah, some bullshit game. So Parasite Eve it's an RPG, and you get to move around while you're battling. So there's a lot of customization with weapons. You can like tear them down and use parts to upgrade your current weapon, and you basically get into the combat thing. It does like a little screen flash. Jesus. And you get into the battle zone, and you have a certain range on your weapon, so you have to get close enough to attack. And then you trigger the attack, and you have your loading time to like load the bullets and stuff. And you can actually dodge enemy attacks. So like they'll shoot a fireball at you, and you can walk out of the way of it. So it's like a crazy interactive battle system, and I honestly thought it was a lot of fun when I played it. I think it's a great game. And it's freaky. It's like weird, and got some crazy scenes in it where people just get destroyed. And it's bizarre, but it's a lot of fun. And I like the customization, and I thought the story was pretty cool. And graphically, it looks great. So I'm excited to have it lose to another game, but at least know that it was there.
Have you nominated it before?
I haven't yet. No. Yeah.
Okay.
I've been saving it. It's for you.
This is a good advertisement for Nude Clan.
It is, yeah. It is, yeah. We got a South Park Stick of Truth review coming out soon, so look for
in
that.
a week, I think.
Yeah.
So not all things can be hits, though, but I would like to add that Square can take it at this point, because their games, they have a lot of big games coming out on these 2 years, and I think they're kind of covering everything.
Yeah.
The critically planned So Kaigi would follow, as well as some not too noteworthy games like FF7's Window Port, which was probably successful. Brave Fencer Musashi, which is kind of forgotten, but it kind of sold I think it sold like 500,000 copies or something.
Oh, that's not bad.
Another Mind, which is supposed to be a really bizarre game with still photos of actors and shit in a horror game. You gotta see, okay, so the old Windows games that were like...
The Click Adventures?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like something like that, only it's for the PlayStation.
Oh.
And it's like a horror mystery.
I don't know.
I couldn't find anything else but screenshots on this game. It looks fucking weird.
Yeah.
It's fucking bizarre. And then Air Gaze.
Yeah.
Which is now this is based on other people's reviews, and I have not played the game. The apparently mediocre fighting game, which is most notable for its inclusion of FF7 characters. And then Chocobo Dungeon 2 and IS International Section, which is a tube shooter game, much like Space Invaders.
That is a bizarre thing to release.
Yeah, on the PlayStation.
It's
odd.
like, this is kind of not what we do anymore.
So with the classics released in 1997 and 1998, Enix was doing pretty well. I did write the word wall instead of well.
Wow. See,
awesome
look, it's happening.
That.
Everything, you're replacing words.
Enix is doing pretty wall.
Yeah. God damn it.
Yeah. But, God, I don't want to talk about it.
Got it on the mind, apparently.
But Squareco,
all about it here.
Squareco in 1997 and 1998 was creating a fucking legacy. Just think about these 2 years. Think about FF7, Xenogears, Parasite Eve. It's got their front mission stuff, the good Saga games, Tactics. That's crazy.
FF8.
Yeah, FF8.
Big.
FF8 is next. That legacy would continue to be more solidified in February of 1999 with Final Fantasy VIII. So they start off the year with a fucking bang. 8 million copies sold twice.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Yeah. So that's my part 7. Next time we'll talk about probably 1999 and 2000. Who knows? I mean, they're almost as big as those last 2 years.
Yeah, there was a lot of shit going on with the company. So
yeah, a lot of classics. I mean, Square is on top of the world. I mean, it will come to bite him in the ass, and a certain movie comes out.
Yeah, come to bite him in the gooch, if you will.
Oh, it will come to.
Yeah,
it will come to an end. But I mean, Squareco, I don't think we would look as affectionately on Squareco if after FF7 all they did was put out, like, you know, if they did what Enix did, was kind of put out these minor games and never try any other major product.
Yeah, they succeeded because they threw out a Parasite Eve, because they Xenogears,
and those were in-house games, I believe. They weren't just published by Square.
Yeah, Square, a lot of Square stuff they do in-house.
Yeah,
that's a big difference between them and Enix. Enix is more of just like a publisher at this point. But now, of course, Enix owns Square, so it's like it doesn't really matter anymore. I guess they own like 50 billion things with Eidos and all of that. So good times. Good times. A lot of success.
So we do have 2 questions this week.
Do we?
Yes.
Do we have a jingle, though?
I thought so.
We got one here from Chivers. It's titled Useless Characters. Chivers, yeah. Or Chivers, maybe.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know.
I can't read it from here.
Just finishing Final Fantasy X again now. That is on the PS4. And whilst playing it, I have realized 2 main things. 1, Titus is an absolute fucking wanker. Lulu in that game is absolutely useless. Which brings me to my question.
Oh, so he said wanker and now he's British.
In the series, who do you guys think is the most useless character? Purely of a fighting sense, that is. Kimari is, Selphie is another that comes to mind. Kate Sith definitely is, and Vincent from 7 maybe. Cheers. He said cheers too, I'm justified.
Most useless in battle?
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Well, here's the problem with having any opinion on this, is that as soon as you spew that someone is useless, someone else will be like, yeah, well, if you get this ability at this point in the game, it's awesome.
You just don't know.
Exactly. I say any fucking blue mage. That's what I always say.
Yeah, but then I
get shit for it because people are like, well, dude, if you use the blue mage abilities, they're better than anything else.
Do you remember
in the game.
Minzara in 11? That guy's a sick motherfucker. He's a blue mage.
I mean, that's 11.
Guy's a nuke, man. He's a midget, too. He's this tiny little creature. This Lalafell motherfucker.
I fucking hate Lalafells, dude.
I do, too.
Tarus or whatever the fuck they are.
Oh, they are Tarus.
Yeah.
The Lalafells are
Those are 14.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's bleeding together. So I would, I see where you're coming from with the blue mage. It's kind of stressful. It's not a for sure thing. Their moves are like weird. They're like, oh, does blah 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 in blah blah blah, like does a certain amount of their health if at this point. I'm like, fuck.
I mean, the way that I did beat FF7 in 18 hours
was the fucking blue mage.
Was using Trine over and over
Trine
again.
Is fucking disgusting in 7, dude. If you get that thing early, oh my god.
But that's not character based in 7.
No, it's not. But it is the blue mage ability, though. It's the same thing.
Wow, probably. Yeah, Kimari, he's not quite the same attacker that Waka, Titus, or Oran are, who are pretty much the only people I use.
Yeah, the bro party is legit.
Lulu, because of the MP and stuff, she's almost useless. I mean, unless you just like black mage stuff.
Really?
Then you can use Lulu. Gravity was useful, admittedly.
Okay.
But I never used, I hardly, well, let me take that back a little bit, because I know in FF10 there are some creatures that you come across that will take a lot of damage from
black
a mage.
Yeah.
And so that sometimes she would be very useful in those situations. But ever since we started this playthrough especially, I played Final Fantasy different and stupider at a certain point.
Yeah, I did too.
It's now more of I lean on my attackers almost exclusively when I play my Final Fantasy games. So even in FF8, where I used to summon monsters all the time to do the mega damage,
yeah,
it's now, you know what? junction stuff to my stats, I'll be able to attack really quickly, and I'll be able to blow this game out of the water.
Ooh, oh, okay. I would say that's the same for me. Summons used to be a big deal, especially with that boost ability in FF8. I remember first playing 8, and I had that fucking thing down, dude. I could get like 140 or something like that boost, and it would just be sick, the damage. But now, I mean, when we go through 8, the damage is like 10 times worse when we hit him with the blade, just the basic attack, because we know how to play the game. I would say I used Lulu a decent amount in 10, so I wouldn't put her quite in the useless camp because
Riku is completely useless.
I would disagree there too, because
because you can use an ability that's a pain in the ass.
You can steal and ruin every robot creature that you come across.
Yeah, you're right. The robot,
and
part.
that was like
they make her useful because of the robot part.
Yeah, anytime in the game you run into a Machina, you just steal and they fall apart. It's legit.
You're right about that.
So I think 10 did a pretty good job of balancing, and I would say Kimari is probably the least useful one, because he doesn't do quite the damage that Orin does, and he's not quite as fast as Titus. So he's this middle ground, can get some good abilities. They usually don't do a whole lot of damage kind of a guy, and I want to use him, but I just don't normally.
He also doesn't hit flying creatures like Waka does.
Yeah, he doesn't have the speed to do it. And you get Titus up to that point where he hits flying creatures, for God's sake. And Kimari's just this lumbering beast that can't hit.
If he's been using on the right part of the sphere grid.
Yeah.
Which is his part of the sphere grid. So
yeah, he gets pretty quick. You got to get him over to Orin's side, and Orin over to his side.
Own side first, and then go through to Orin's side. But
yeah, and then they become just disgusting motherfuckers.
I would like to say, with the exception of the part of the game where you had to use her, which I believe is what happens in FF9, Eiko, pretty useless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think she wasn't nearly as good as Princess Garnet with her healing abilities. So I always use Garnet over her. Yeah, I did too, but there are people, like you said, that use Eiko like all the time.
I mean, they wouldn't put a character in a game that didn't have something cool at some point if you used a certain character.
Yeah.
I do want to say Vincent's fucking limit break is always annoying.
Yeah.
So I sometimes am tempted not to use Vincent.
I don't ever use Vincent, dude. I'm going to say it right now. I've never finished the game with Vincent in my party.
I have. I think I've finished the game twice with Vincent.
And it's because I get to Materia Keeper and I use his limit break, and he sometimes does damage and other times does massive heals. And I'm like, you know what? You're off the fucking team. You're a bench warmer now. Congratulations. Yeah. You can't keep yourself under control. Get the fuck out of my party. I'm bringing Barrett back in. And that's just the end of it. Barrett, Tifa, Cloud. That's like what I do. Sometimes Sid. I'll trade Sid out.
I do think
Barrett.
The dice ability is really weak for Kate Sith. I mean, it can be great.
Well, of course, anything can be great.
But that's why, I mean, as soon as I say some character's useless, especially one of the main series
be like,
games,
correction time.
Be like, fuck you, he's amazing.
Yeah, he's amazing if you spend 60 hours with him. It's like, and we know that. We understand that. But it's, as far as like a baseline fighting ability, I never use Kate Sith. I never use Vincent. So that's 2 from one game.
Pretty much. I think Yuffie is the one I've used the least.
I don't ever use Yuffie either. I have to use them in like the PlayStation 4 version to get the trophies for their limit breaks, but that's like it.
Right.
That's it, man. And the fact that you get experience when they're not in your party makes it even easier to not use these people, because then you know if you do end up having to use them in the Sephiroth fight, they're still kind of close to where you are. So I don't know, it almost, with the more recent games, it almost like perpetuates the lack of use for these certain characters.
What are you gonna do, man?
I don't know. Selphie, I tried. I tried using her. I couldn't. I don't like...
Oh, her limit break is amazing.
I don't like Irvine. His limit break is fun, but I don't think it does enough damage to make him worth being in the party.
Selphie's limit break is amazing.
What
you
is
get
hers?
about 1/3 of a chance if you keep pressing the back button and letting her rotate through what her ability is going to be. She has like a 1/3 chance of hitting full cure.
Oh, that's okay. Full cure is good.
Selphie's shit is amazing. Irvine's not as good. You have to buy
his ammo.
Before
it's
using
fun.
it.
I like the limit break. I think it's a fun limit break, but as far as like damage output and cost efficiency, I'm like, no, I'm not going to use you.
So if your party's dying, Selphie is a way good one to have.
Yeah.
Especially in that final fight. It's important to keep Selphie alive for a long time.
Yeah, it is. That is tough. That is a tough question. There's so many characters in these games that we don't use. Like,
I mean, it's just like, would you, as a pro, I feel that this character is useless. But then again, if you're the type of person who wants to explore the game in a different direction, like if your play style is different, which is cool that the series allows for that.
Yeah.
Then you can be like, well, I want to fight all these creatures and gain their abilities and then have attacks that do even more damage than any other character could even think about doing.
Yeah,
but I have to put in that work for it, and I like that. So I understand it. I wouldn't do it ever.
And that's what I did with Final Fantasy XII this time. For the most part, I kept the weapons, the original weapons. So Fran would have her bow, Balthier would have his gun, Vaughn would have a sword. The other people would have swords. I took the dagger off Penelo because that's a joke. But I tried to keep it in its pure state of like, okay, this character uses a gun because he's Balthier, and that's what he uses. So I kept it there for a long time until I started getting to endgame content, and then I was like, okay.
Fuck that, this sword is awesome.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't justify this any longer. This gun sucks. But, it's kind of up there. I would say Vincent hurts me more just because I like him as a character, but I don't like having him in my party. Yuffie, I don't really care because I don't care for Yuffie that much. So it's not like I want to play this game with her, but I can't.
I know that in late game, he gets awesome.
Yeah, no, his limit breaks get sick.
No,
yeah.
I'm talking about someone I'm introducing.
Oh.
But the thief in Final Fantasy 1.
Oh, yeah.
It's a fucking joke.
Yeah.
He doesn't do nearly enough damage to... He can't kill a fucking goblin in the first area, which is ridiculous. And he is a fucking squishy piece of shit.
Yeah.
So when I think of useless things, FF1, that thief... And I realize he can become something awesome later in the game. That thief initially is just fucking terrible.
Yeah.
And so nothing will ever make me use a thief ever in FF1.
All right. You know, it's funny. I before we started the show, when I was playing FF1, I named my thief character Joe. I didn't think anything of it.
Are you just saying I'm a thief?
No, I was naming it after people I knew because FF1, I don't care. Normally I'll keep the names, but FF1 doesn't really give you names. So I was like, all right, let's just do this. And then I was like, wow, he is useless. So, all right, let's see. Skull Hottie says, Realm in 6, whatever the pilot's name was, Realm in 6 as well as whatever the pilot's name is. Something with an S, I think.
Shit.
Setzer? Is that what he's saying?
Setzer.
Yeah, I didn't use Setzer really either. He has some good moves. I also surprisingly never use Locke unless I had to. Kate, Sith, Kamari, Riku, anyone not in my main party in 7, 8, and 12. All those characters are mostly the same for combat purposes. Yeah, and in those games, 12 especially, they're basically cookie-cutter characters, and you get to customize them.
You need all 6 for, what's his fucking face?
Yaizamat. Yeah. Yaizamat requires all life to be forfeited to him. So, good question, guys. Thank you for that. Let's see what else we got.
It is Setzer.
Yeah.
If you were to make sure we got the game right before someone freaked out at us. Or the name. Sorry, not the game. Jesus Christ, I can't talk today.
We got one here from Shinru, and it's titled...
This is my favorite question in a long time, by the way. Thank you, Shinru.
Yeah, it's good. If you were offered $1 billion to finish all the FF games within 1 year, could you do it? Let's say a rich multi-billionaire was an FF fan and a fan of the podcast, and after finding out he had a short time to live, he decided to have some fun with his money and give back to the people that enjoy the same stuff he does. He contacts both of you. Joe and Caleb says...
He could feed Africa... Or you could give us money.
Well, I know which one I prefer. Joe and Caleb, and says he will give you $1 billion, a small loan of $1 billion if you manage
It's
to
a loan?
complete. Well, he's going to die, so you don't have to pay it.
Oh.
If you manage to complete every localized game with Final Fantasy in the title or game that was inspired or going to be an FF game within 1 year. If you accept and fail, then you must never play another Final Fantasy game again and sign a legal document and everything. Would you accept the challenge? Yeah. I don't think it's...
I don't think that's a fucking question. Here's the thing. I would go for a much lower number.
Yeah,
for
I would
that
do
challenge.
this. I would do this for $120,000 probably.
I think I would just do it for a living wage that would allow me to pay rent and eat pretty well around here.
Well, I mean, we know the games well enough that we could probably do it.
So I'm
Even
offering,
with 11.
look, if everybody gave it, okay, let me think about this. How much does it cost to keep your life going here?
Well,
$2,400 a month, maybe?
no,
Less than that?
I don't make that much money.
Okay. I don't know how much we make.
I would say I can live
Comfortably.
comfortably on $30K. I could probably make it
Oh, okay.
a year.
That's not that bad. That's easy. Yeah, so let's say Schweiss lives at 30K. Yeah, let's bump it up to 40K. This guy's a billionaire.
All right.
Okay.
40,000.
I will take 40,000 as well. This
Okay.
guy only needs to pay us 80,000 a year for us to live to play Final Fantasy games full time.
Yeah, and I would play it. Yeah, I would do it.
You bet your ass, Shinru. I would do that if our Patreon donors gave us that much money for a year.
Yeah.
I would just stop doing anything else. I would stop going to school and I would just play Final Fantasy for like a year and like beat a game a week, which is totally possible.
It is
like
if
you've
you-
decided that you're going to do 40 to 60 hours a week on Final Fantasy. You could do that.
You could, and plus we've played them enough that we kind of know what's going on, and 11 will take us
Way less time.
way less. Yeah, we'll be looking at like at least a couple days less.
So I'm interested in this. If anybody wants to spot us the funds,
yeah, spot us the
if
$80,000.
you really hate this show and you just want it to end in a year from now,
Yeah, 80 grand is all we ask, and it'll be over.
Yeah.
You guys can move on to Nude Clan.
80,000 a year, and that's for 2 people.
Yeah, that's only 2 of us. Yeah, that's crazy.
We can do that.
Would you be able to do it and beat all the games? I honestly think we would,
Yes.
because we'd have a full year, and it would be our whole lives would be playing Final Fantasy. And I've seen great things happen when streamers go through a series, like just crazy quick. I mean, there's this one girl I've watched stream a few times. She played through the series in like, it was like a month maybe on the main series ones, maybe a couple months. And that's her. Like, I don't know how much experience she has with the games. I didn't ask, but I just saw when she completed each of them and I'm like, geez, dude, we're slow. But we also don't get paid to play on Twitch either. So I can't really, I'm not sure if we're slow or if we
I'm
just
telling you, man, you just need us. I'm too fat.
get the job.
I'm too fat.
Get the boob job and the...
You need the boob job and some implants elsewhere as well.
Yeah. I can just get a wig. I don't need hair
Okay,
plugs.
all right. You can get a very good wig.
Yeah.
And put on some lipstick on you and
Yeah, and I'll start streaming.
pluck your eyebrows and
Yeah.
I
Keep
think
the chops though, right?
I think our
I don't have to shave those.
I think our Twitch audience would go up like 7-fold.
Yeah, it sucks, but...
I mean, I think that's really the remember those iTunes reviews that were always asking for us to have a female host?
I think they just wanted her to stream.
I think that they just wanted to make us more money by having someone stream it.
And we took it as a negative thing at the time. Like,
Yeah, they just wanted to help us out.
they knew the market.
Right.
We just ignored it.
Oh, I would be in for way less than $1 billion, Shinru. That
Yeah.
is not a big ass.
It's the reason why these take us this long is because we are busy with other stuff, because we have to make money.
and I don't want
live.
the show to kill me either. So like,
Yeah.
even though I could probably put twice as much time in, I don't want to. I would like to live my life and make this a comfortable thing and not a, Jesus Christ, I have to get this game done right now.
Yeah.
Which has happened in the past with this show.
Yeah.
And it affects it negatively. So
the one time it did.
I think a game a month is, for a game under 30 hours, perfectly acceptable.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's fine.
Yeah. What do other people say here?
Well, he asked what our schedule would be like. You'd probably just wake up, play Final Fantasy, go to bed.
Wake up, play Final Fantasy for 8 to 10 hours.
Yeah.
Enjoy the rest of the day. And then, go to bed.
Yeah, it would be, even at 10 hours a day for Final Fantasy, we would get through the first one in a day. We'd get through the second one in 2 days after that. The third one, another 2 days. So a week in, we would be to Final Fantasy IV.
Yeah,
and
right.
We'd be done with 4 and 5 the next week. 6, 7 the next week. 8 and 9 probably the next week. We would just destroy this thing. We would wreck face. So that's what our schedule would be like. It'd be awesome. Would you play games 24/7 and not even bother going to work or anything else? Well, we would have to if we're going to do this fucking thing.
And it's for $1 billion.
Yeah, so we don't have to work because we know we're going to succeed and we know we're going to get it done. So
that's right.
Let's see. Matunica says, looking at the UFF games /add-ons /expansions list, that's 73 games, not including 15 or the new 14 expansion. Also, would this crazy rich person make you play all the mobile games? I would if it was my buck. Also, it would suck if Square
glad
released...
it's not your buck, Matunica.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, it would suck if Square released 2 big games just before the end of the year. Would you accept the challenge? He says yes. Would you be able to do it and beat all the games? He doesn't know. 11 and 14 would be the real deal breakers on that.
I don't have a family, so it's not like I have other responsibilities.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, well, you want to do this? Sure, I can just work.
Yeah. So he said what his schedule would be like, it'd be hell. His wife would understand the need to win the money, but he would keep his job as a backup if he fails. I have 1 through 9 on my PSP, so they would get done on the train and at work. Then I would get home and plow through 11 and 14 as much as possible. The key would be getting as many of the games portable as possible. Finally, an exclusive to get a Vita. Or an excuse, excuse me. Would you play games 24/7 and not even bother going to work or do anything else? As above, keeping my job is a must. However, I would save up all my annual leave time and take December off for the final push and grind. Lovely thought. Let's see. He wants to clarify. Mobile games do not count as FF games to the multi-billionaire, but stuff like Xenogears and Chrono Trigger do. Also, only the main story needs to be beaten, so you don't have to 100% the game or beat all the 11 expansions, just the main story, so what we did. Lastly, no cheating and glitching. After you beat it all the games, you will have professionals come in and check your save data.
Oh my god.
To make sure everything is fine.
It's like 2 guys in suits and sunglasses.
Yeah. The multi-billionaire will also pay for the games or devices you need to play. So if you don't have device/system...
This sounds like a beautiful thing. This is more than doable.
Yeah, this is easy. This guy's giving you all the tools in the world to succeed here. Skull Hottie says, yes, no doubt. Set for life in a year's time. I'd do almost anything for a year for $1 billion. Playing FF games is hardly a difficult full-time job, which is what I would make it into. Agreed. That's a cool question.
I would do it for less than $1 billion. Way less.
Yeah, I would too. I would, like I said, I still stand by my initial amount that I gave, the $120 million, or $120,000, sorry. $120,000, and I'd be set. I'd do whatever. I would do it and still work. I would make it that sick. Just 8 to 10 hours a day after 8.5 hours of work, and move on from there. So
I think it's an awesome plan. In fact, if any of our listeners are multimillionaires,
yeah, we'll sponsor us, be our sponsors, and we'll hit that up. So,
all right. So, thank you for the questions, guys. I think we've caught up on our questions. So, if you want to, please go on our forums and leave us some, or use our email contact through the contact page on ultimatefinalfantasy.com. You can do that as well and ask us for a question there. Schweiss, do we have any iTunes reviews?
Well, that's a very interesting question, Joe. The answer is no, but we've decided to read something else. in place of these. So I'll give you the good iTunes review. Websites, reviews, websites, reviews. Okay, so what's been happening for the last 2 years? The site UltimaFinalFantasy.com has been getting a good amount of reviews on it. Now, I, being a man who wants reviews from iTunes, as we can hear from that past thing, have neglected to tell Joe that these even existed, and I didn't realize he had no idea. So, from now on, we're going to start reading reviews that you guys leave us through our Contact Us page on our website. We have a big backlog of stuff from the old websites. And this has been happening since the OG forums.
I didn't know this, by the way. I knew about this one because I had seen it, and I was like, did we read it on the show? Because we should have.
Yeah, and then I was like,
it said it was a review, and I think it was, I don't remember if it was on this show or Nude Clan or Godzilla. I had said, if you just want to go through the contact page and leave us the review that you would leave if you had an iTunes account and don't want one or whatever, you can do that.
Yeah, I don't think it was on this show, but even then, I mean, I think LBR reads all of theirs, so we should probably read ours too. It's the nice thing to do because you guys took time out of your day to leave us a review somewhere at some time, and I've just been a dick these last 2 years and been
you're always a dick.
No, they don't count.
All right, so this is a 5-star review, Schweiss.
Oh my god,
that's what it says anyway. And who's it from? The name is going to be at the top. Chaz. All right. Thank you, Chaz, for your review from a month and a half ago.
Oh, you just wait, man. We're going to go from the most recent to the oldest. These are going to be fucking old.
Oh, my God. They're going to be like, oh, yeah, when you went through FF5, I was real happy or some shit.
Yeah,
it's going to be...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's going to be a trip down memory lane. It's a good thing I did this.
All right. So we won't have the no reviews thing for a couple weeks.
No.
And if you want to leave a review on iTunes, we will still be keeping up on that.
We will. Yeah, we will.
So, 5-star review for Ultima Final Fantasy. I'm glad I stumbled upon this podcast to listen to during commuting and doing slog work on the computer. Caleb and Joe are hilarious and are extremely dedicated to the premise of playing and reviewing all main series FF games, as well as some others. The podcast has gotten me through many hours of work and driving. I'm grateful for the time that they put in. A few thoughts. 1, the Titus laugh cue for Joe cracks me up every time and should definitely keep happening on occasion. Stay strong, Caleb. 2.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That was really pissing you off for a little while there.
Still does. 2, I almost want to make an iTunes account and leave a 1-star review just to see how much Joe freaks out, but I won't. I promise. Thank you for promising that, Chaz.
Yeah.
But damn. Okay, I can't read the rest. It's all you.
3, the very long duration format of the podcast. The very long duration format of the podcast threw me at first as someone who is accustomed to NPR style 50-minute long shows, but I think it's right for UFF so that you guys have plenty of time to shoot the shit and go on rants. 4, you guys are damn harsh on Caleb Craig. Why so mean? 5, as a professional composer, I've got to say that your music reviews aren't quite as strong as your reviews of the other aspects of the games. Mostly, you guys tend to talk about your opinions of the music rather than anything else, such as how the music is put together.
What else was I supposed to say? Well, this starts in a 4/4, and it's the coda at the... I don't fucking know.
You know how interested in that I am? Not. Because I can tell that
this one's in the Dorian mode, and then it switches over to a major scale for... Okay, that's the best I can do, man. That really, like, my music theory... Oof, God.
Not good.
Not good. I wanted to be a musician in high school, but it was like rock musician.
Yeah, well, he does mention how the music is put together and how the music shapes different moments of the game, which I feel like we do kind of cover.
We go, yeah, this works here really well. I remember talking
how
about
repetitions of different themes take on different meanings in different contexts, etc. That we could talk about as well. That's a good point. And yeah, I know you like metal, but maybe spread the love a little to other styles of FF covers. You can probably tell that I'm one of those people that really likes FF8 music, can't you? Well, by judging by the fact that you wanted us to break it down and say how things work in certain areas, no, I wouldn't have guessed that. Anyway, I'm thinking I'm done for now, but you guys make a seriously kick-ass show. Great job. Cheers, Chaz.
Thank you very much, Chaz. I appreciate the review. I don't know how more in-depth we can get about the music, frankly. Not me and Schweiss just can't.
Yeah, I don't really know a ton.
Not too much more. So, sorry about that. I mean, I'll definitely look into seeing how we can review music a little more.
Yeah, we can try. We can try to maybe work on how it affects us at different parts of the game. I mean, I feel like we do that to some extent, but I do like the idea.
I can tell you where it's overused, and that is FF13. Whenever someone turns around, there's a nice little ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Ding, ding.
And then I found out I was just an asshole little kid.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, that got really annoying.
Sex with my mom. Ding, 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 ding.
And then she fell off the bridge.
It's becoming Megadeth. Look at that metal. Yeah, see, metal just came right into the...
Look, he doesn't even talk like that. He talks like a normal guy. But no one knows that listens to the show. They all think he talks like he sings. So we've done our job. All right, so...
What was our question from us to you? Oh, it was to talk about the FF Academy. Okay, we'll continue on that.
Yeah, get on that FF Academy Awards. We want to keep this one going for a few weeks because it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah,
and throw out your thoughts on that. Who should
we'll
win?
Put a reply on it so that it's in the recent replies area or something like that. Real quick though, new segment. Okay, feedback. That's all I got for this new segment. It's just calling it feedback. And I don't have a jingle because I just thought of this last night. I was like, we got a comment on our blog, and sometimes we get comments on the blog part. It's just ultimatefinalfantasy.com.
Right, yeah.
You don't have to go to the forums to comment on the episodes. You can just straight up comment on the episodes.
Right.
And so this is a comment from last week's episode by Noctis Ghetto Booty.
Oh, wow, nice.
Which I appreciate the name.
Yeah, great name. Best name.
It's tremendous.
It is, yes.
Fun show with no commitment to any games at the moment, as we're all waiting for 15. Do you guys think you'll have at least one mega hype episode? Talk about what other games and series that 15 seems to have borrowed from, etc.
Well, maybe when we review it, yeah, probably. I don't know if we're going to have a separate occasion where we do that.
I think we have enough episodes where we go,
this is where the series builds on itself. This is where we...
Yeah, and I feel like that. I think the game needs to be before we go into that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there's going to be more stuff when we get into the actual game itself.
So perhaps is the answer to that.
Yeah. Let's see. I think besides 14, this is the first main series title you guys will play with everyone else. So the show should get more exciting in the next few weeks. What? Are you talking about History Square-Enix Part 7 is not exciting?
Yeah, that's weird. That's a weird thing to say, yeah.
Keep it up, he says. Also, I heard you mention the Nintendo Switch and Skyrim again. Now, I'm under the impression that they showed off the remastered version that PlayStation 4 and Xbox are getting, and that you guys seem to call it a PS3 version. Okay, how different is the remastered version compared to the original?
I don't know. I have it on PC, so my version looks fucking amazing regardless because my PC is better than my PS4. So I can't
how
answer
can
that
you really tell
responsibly.
on a 4-inch fucking screen?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're just saying, man.
I also think that it's... Yeah, I know why, and I know... I probably didn't say it, but I know it's the remastered version. That's not the question.
The idea is that
it's still an old game.
Yeah. And it might be remastered, but they can only fucking do so much with the original files. We know this. We know this from Final Fantasy. We look at 12.
A remaster is not a remake.
Yeah, it's different.
They're not going in and making it amazing.
Yeah, they're just
kind of, uncompressed. It's not as compressed as it was.
That's really all it is. Same thing with the FF12 on PC thing. It just decompresses what the PlayStation 2 handles.
So now, even if it is a remastered version, what gen should we consider the game? Still PS3.
Yeah, it's still a PS3 game.
I still count FF10 as still a PS2 game.
Yeah.
The fact that it looks great.
Yeah, no, it's a PS2 game, though. I don't
doesn't look like a PS4 game.
Now,
it just looks like a cleaned up PS2 game.
I will say one of the reasons why I love PS3 so much is because of the remasters from PS2. But those aren't PS2 games. There are still great games that came out on PlayStation 3 that are great in their own rights, and that is what makes that generation great. It's not the PS2 games they re-released on PS3, because those were already there as PS2 games.
You're right.
Those are cool. It's awesome. But that's not what makes PS3 so good.
It's like a bonus. It's not the cream of the crop. It's not...
Yeah.
It's not the... It's a cherry on top.
Yeah,
it's not like the sundae.
Yeah, exactly. It's the cherry on top. Correct. There you go.
If it's on the other consoles, it's this gen, right?
No, I don't think so.
I think Joe was right in saying that they just tried to capitalize on the remaster coming out. I'm not sure if I said that. Craig might have said that on Newt Clan. I guess it seems to have just confused people about what power the system has instead of hyping anything. Wrong forum, but it was mentioned, so I said it.
All right, well, that works.
Says not just get a booty.
So give us feedback for all the shows, and we'll just do it. No,
I just think the advertisement made a lot of people excited for the Nintendo Switch. I'm sure it'll be a big system. I'm sure that Xbox is going to die next generation.
Yeah. Well, they're just going to be like, well, look, you can play your games on the PC now. Do you see how you can play it on the go? Do you see how you can play it on the go? Oh, no, just
and
PC.
I understand that Skype players, or Skyrim players, sorry. Skyrim players are very excited to see that game on a newer system.
Yeah.
But to me, that doesn't make, like what you were saying, that doesn't make it a newer system.
Yeah, it's not a game to be remembered from this gen. It's just they happen to port it.
It's not the next gen. It's 2 gens behind at that point, right?
Yeah, it's still really cool.
Nintendo Switch is early opening the next gen. I mean, this is kind of a small generation, which is pissing me off because I spent $400 on this generation.
Yeah.
So Nintendo Switch prematurely opening up the 9th generation of game consoles or whatever it is.
Something like that, yeah.
And they're starting their main hype thing is like a remaster of an old game.
Well, what's bizarre to me is that thing seemed to have more time in the limelight than the Zelda game that they promised for last gen that is now going to be on this gen. Oh, and also on last gen. So it's like, I don't know. It's a weird mixed message. I'm not sure where it's going to go.
And it makes it look like, it's not that powerful.
Yeah, but I mean, if there's a Final Fantasy game that comes out on it, we'll get it and we'll play it. So keep that in mind, Nintendo. Unless, of course, it's a remaster of an old game, and then we won't play it on there because things got like a 4-hour battery life, and I'm not fucking around with that. Not for Final Fantasy. But I think it'd be cool if Crystal Chronicles made a little bit of a comeback, just to jump back on there. I
already bought the Wii for the Crystal Chronicles.
Yeah, but I mean like a new Crystal
Chronicle game. How many people play those things? I've never heard anybody from our podcast audience. I'm sure Shinru has, so maybe I should just...
Yeah, Shinru probably loves them.
But how many people from our podcast audience actually played the Crystal Chronicle games whatsoever?
Yeah, that should be a question from us to you.
That is a different question from us to you.
We'll ask it after we get the last one taken care of. But I am curious about that because it is a series that I don't really hear much about. I mean, I know Jake has played the first one on GameCube, but I don't know to what extent he knows that sub-series of games. And it's a weird one. I didn't realize there were so many. I only thought, okay, there's like a couple of these weird GameCube and there's one on the Wii. And now like 6 games in, I'm like, oh my God, Crystal Chronicles is huge.
Yeah, it's going to be like 2 download only ones.
Yeah, the My Life as a Dark Lord and My Life as a Prince.
King.
Got those, right?
Regular Final Fantasy Crystals Chronicles.
GameCube, yeah.
And then Fire of Time.
Echoes of Time or something.
Echoes of Time.
And then one more. There's 2 on the Wii.
It's totally another one. And there was one that was like on the Wii and on the DS.
Yeah, which sucks because I have a DS now.
I have the Wii one.
I kind of wish I would have got it on the DS.
Dude, we're going to play those together. We're going to hate each other. We're going to hate each other for like 6 months.
Yeah, it's going to be like 11 all over again.
Yeah. Where we're screaming at each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
Everywhere.
Yeah, it's fun. It's good times.
Glad I'm having the break from you. It's nice.
Yeah, a break from me.
Break from you? Yeah, man.
No, you're the one that needs... No, you. You're the one that people need a break from.
Well, fuck you. All right. Okay. Well, I think that's going to be it for this episode, guys. You can check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, just /Ultima Final Fantasy on all those sites. You can support us on Patreon. $1 a month gives you episodes as soon as we're done mixing them and access to a drunk Advent Children commentary, which I'm sure that sometime in the future there will be a Spirits Within commentary that may be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get working on that sometime in the next few months.
Hopefully, yeah. I'm looking forward to them.
Yeah.
Need more of those.
Patreon exclusive commentaries. That's right, guys. You can also go to our forums, give us feedback there. You can go to ultimafinalfantasy.com. There's a contact page. You can give us a review if you don't want to send an iTunes run, if you're one of those guys. And if you can give us feedback on this episode specifically, that'd be great.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it next week. And
tweet me if you at UFF Podcast.
Tweet me at Joseph DeGollier. And is that everything, Twice?
I believe so.
385-204-3921 is our phone line.
Yes, we're still doing next week, guys. We're doing our Final Fantasy XI farewell episode with Limit Break Radio. I think we've got most all of them on board for that. I'm still working out the deets. I don't know if I want to do it live or not, because that seems like it's going to be a giant pain in my ass.
Don't do it live. It's
but
painful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But look forward to that. Get us your Final Fantasy XI experiences, what you remember from the game, what you like about the game, what you dislike. All of that. We've gotten one voicemail on it and a couple things on the forum, I believe, but you still have one more week to get those in. We want to hear your story for Final Fantasy XI. It was a big deal for us. It's the game we spent the most time on by about 170 hours, I would say. Maybe even 200. More than any other game this playthrough. So it's a big deal for us. Make sure you get your stories in for next week's episode.
All right. We will see you guys next time.
Enjoy the grind.
This has been another production of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast. The show was produced by Joseph DeGollier and Caleb Schweiss, with music and editing by Joseph DeGollier, parodies and clips from their respective authors, of course. You can get all of our episodes as well as our Let's Plays at ultimafinalfantasy.com. You can also contact us on Twitter at UFF Podcast, as well as our contact page on our website. Be sure to subscribe and review our podcast. Your reviews may get read on the show, and look forward to the next episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the Ultimate Final Fantasy Podcast.